So in today's reading we have the very relatable story of Hezekiah, who's after getting a bad diagnosis. So basically he knows he's dying, he knows that the outlook is not good, and he turns to God in prayer. And he's very open with the Lord. Maybe it's not the kind of prayer I think I would necessarily recommend. He says, Lord, remember, I beg you, how I have behaved faithfully and with sincerity in heart in your presence, and how I have done what is right in your eyes. You can't always, I think we might not always be advisable to say, Lord, remember how good I am. Remember all the amazing things I've done. Remember how often I've gone to Mass. I don't know if that generally carries a lot of weight with the Lord. It's probably more beneficial to say, Lord, I entrust myself to your mercy. But anyway, that's beside the point. But what we're doing for the next couple of days, yesterday, today, and tomorrow anyway, is a short series of homilies on spiritual motherhood. So how do we draw today's reading into that particular theme? We see that Hezekiah's prayers are listened to, but there's one little detail here which I think is particularly important. The word of the Lord came to Isaiah. Go and tell Hezekiah, the Lord, the God of David your ancestor, says this: I have heard your prayer and seen your tears. I've seen your tears. I will cure you. When it comes to motherhood in general, a lot of what happens in motherhood, a lot of what mothers live can be quite hidden. I know that dealing with a lot of moms who come here, or in general in parishes, when moms come to you, they come with the burdens of the whole family. You know, the sicknesses, the lack of practice maybe of sons or daughters, the husband, the limitations and all of that. And so often it can be very difficult even to express what is going on. It can be difficult to even put into words what those needs are. But that's why this line I think is particularly beautiful. I've heard your prayer and seen your tears. So often mums cry in hiddenness for their family, for love of their sons, daughters and husbands. So often how families are torn apart can be just absolutely tragic. And prayer, on one hand, is valid and important and weighty, and on the other hand, even tears, which we wouldn't consider, we mightn't think of that as prayer, but when we're crying for someone out of love, then it's a form of prayer. Because remember, prayer is what? Prayer is communication with God. So it's us speaking to him. Yes, it's also us listening. But it's this attitude of love, this childlike attitude of love towards God is what gives prayer its power. In prayer, we don't tell God what to do, but we approach him like a child approaches his dad. So here, our prayer, it's not just words. It can also even be tears shed out of love. So when we think of spiritual motherhood, I was just talking to a lady this morning from Naples, and she's a particularly prayerful lady, and she would definitely be a spiritual mom of mine. And she wrote to me saying, is everything okay? Because normally when things are a bit heavier or a bit difficult, somehow she'll kind of know. She'll have maybe a worse day. She'll have more to offer up. And she'll often contact me saying, I had a really bad day today. Is everything okay on your side? Because normally when I get entrusted with more to carry, it's for you. So yeah, we had a very interesting conversation this morning because there are a few things going on. But because of the physical difficulties that she has, often her prayer is distracted, it's tired, it's hard, but she prays with tears. And it works. It's real. It has an effect. It's real prayer because it's love. And so when we think of spiritual motherhood, the power of the prayer of all of you Ladies out there praying for priests, it's phenomenal, it's incredible. Louis Marie de Montfort, he describes the difference between forming a statue, right? You can form a statue out of marble or out of stone. It's slow, it's painful. You get your hammer and you chisel and you're knocking off chunks. And, if the stone could feel anything, it must be quite a painful process before you end up with a statue. But he said, isn't it much easier if, rather than the stone resisting so much, if you've like a wax poured into a mold, or even, to be honest, even brass or bronze poured into a mold. It's poured in, it flows in, and then once it dries and hardens, in one go, you've got the same statue. And so he says, when we entrust ourselves to Our Lady, this place where Jesus was formed, then that process of being formed is so much easier. Okay, so priests are called to be other Christs. Priests are called to act like Christ, be like Christ, represent Christ, speak like Him, know Him, make Him present, pass on His mercy, that His mercy would pass through His priesthood. So priests are supposed to be like Christ, and spiritual mothers are like another Our Lady, in whose spiritual womb priests are formed. And that it's a beautiful, and this is real. This isn't just made up kind of niceties. In then a spiritual womb of a prayerful woman, a priest can be formed. And sometimes, yes, through tears. So this is how Our Lady lived her spiritual motherhood. She brought Jesus into the world, and then during the Passion, for example, so deeply united to her Son that her heart was broken seeing what was happening to her beloved. Her tears have such great value, and so do yours. And so we ask today for our Blessed Lady to teach, to help, to guide all of you called out there to be spiritual moms, to unite your prayers to hers, to unite your sufferings to hers, to unite your tears to hers, for the renewal of the church and the renewal of the priesthood. Amen.